As I write this, immense tears of pleasure flow from my eyes. Words alone cannot express the feelings and emotions my heart goes through when I think of Hu Tao. On the 22nd of February 2021, my life changed for the better. The day I saw leaked footage of Hu Tao. Something awoken in me that day. A buzzing sensation rushed through my body. I knew it was love at first sight. I stared hours and hours at the leaked gameplay footage of Hu Tao. Her beautiful charge attacks and butterfly effects when she sprinted was mesmerizing. Then she turned around. I froze. Her eyes, her deep red eyes, the shape of her pupils, her face. From this point, a goal spouted in my head. Acquire a C6R5 Hu Tao at any cost. A goal which I eventually did fulfill. The lengths I'd take for Hu Tao shouldn't be underestimated. So, some people might be wondering, what's so special about Hu Tao? What makes her the best waifu? Well, sit back and grab some popcorn. I will enlighten you as to why Hu Tao is the best thing to be ever created since the creation of the heavens and earth. Regardless the size of her bust, Hu Tao has all the qualities of a quintuple S-tier waifu. She's so precious. Her smile, her beautiful unique red eyes. Not a day goes by without me listening to all of Hu Tao's voice lines on repeat for 1 hour while cuddling my Hu Tao pillow. Her eyes has her blood bosom shape. Hu Tao is really a vibrant person. She's trying to keep herself upbeat, working in the funeral parlor. Having to prepare dead people to be buried can be a very tedious task. Hu Tao, I'm here for you. I'm all yours. I'll comfort you. During Hu Tao's story quest, it reveals that sad part of her, which almost made me cry my heart out. She's really sad deep down, but true to give off the vibrant, joyful, and unwavering aura in which she manages to pull off successfully. This quest made Hu Tao feel like my soulmate. I was able to relate to her, and she related to me. I felt like giving her head pats and hugs. Hu Tao's voice is also a work of art. Her Japanese voice, that is. Props to her voice actor, Rei. Her voice really brings out and solidifies Hu Tao's personality. Her croaked singing when she sings the Hilichurl song is just so cute. It shines a light down on the unbothered aspect of her personality. Even though her song may not sound the best, it makes her much more attractive and unique. TBH, Hu Tao, you really need to work on your singing techniques. Either way, I still love you though. My favorite Hu Tao voice line is her low HP line. Every time I press E and she's on low HP, she says, "E," which breathes life back into me after long hours of playing Genshin Impact. It never fails to bring a smile to my face. Oh, I need to mention Hu Tao's hands. Her soft, beautiful hands. Every time I hold Hu Tao's hands, it brings a feeling of security and warmth. Hu Tao's black nails are really good looking. They look like heaven on earth. I just want to suck on her fingertips. Even though Hu Tao may not be the thickest of all waifus, her soft, plump, succulent thighs bring out the hot aspect of her. Her chest, while her tits are not massive, her petite boobs are really firm, the type to fit in your hand without any spillage. Her dash, which is the most unique in Genshin, shows how much effort was put into Hu Tao's kit. When she dashes, she leaves a trail of butterflies behind, while disappearing for a brief moment. I could go on and on, but this message would fail to end. I just love Hu Tao so much. Hu Tao is my passion. I'm tearing up just thinking of Hu Tao. Every comp I use Hu Tao is always on it. I can't bench her. I can't go a day without listening to her voice lines. I can't go a day without playing her. Hu Tao and I share a very special bond. I love her to bits. Just a quick fact. Even though people may not notice, Hu Tao is actually not flat, but her bust is hidden by her beautifully designed coat. When I look at Hu Tao, I look into her eyes and stare at the beautiful smile and the upbeat aura she radiates. It brings a smile to my face. Sometimes I begin to wonder, How would Genshin Impact be without Hu Tao? Hu Tao is one of the characters that keeps me bound to the game. She has all the traits of a highly top-quality, cherished waifu. If anything, Hu Tao is the most refined and complex waifu in Genshin to understand. Another fun fact, it took me about 2,600 euro to C6 R5 Hu Tao. Another adorable aspect about Hu Tao is her hat on her head. It's her grandfather's hat, which shows that even after all these years, Hu Tao hasn't forgotten about her grandfather. This resonates with me a lot, bringing tears to my eyes, because my grandma passed away recently. Hu Tao has a beauty spot on her left butt cheek. I've slept with Hu Tao multiple times, and that's one of her turn-ons for me. Now back on topic. Hu Tao also has the perfect body shape. Not too busty, not too slim. Her body shape is just perfect. The way her hips curve right before her beautiful behind and extend shapely all the way down to her thighs. It takes a really complex person versed in the art of character derivation, observation, deduction, and worship to be able to praise how well refined a character like Hu Tao is. Hu Tao has two sides to her voice. One is very soft and enchanting, thanks to Ray, and one that's full of enthusiasm. I can never get tired of the conversations me and Hu Tao have every night before we sleep. Hu Tao is the type of character, if you're feeling sick and deadbeat, she will bring up your mood and comfort you. She will even sing you a lullaby till you feel better, or fall asleep on her soft lap. Hu Tao would stay by your side till you recover. Hu Tao may look confident and energetic on the outside, but deep down, she just wants to be embraced and loved. Why doesn't she mention this? I think she may be a bit nervous, or don't really know how to pass her feeling across. Every day I spend with Tao, she opens up. She opens up bit by bit. I really do love her company. Hu Tao is the type of girl you can cuddle with at night and speak all the worries of your life to. She would listen thoroughly while gently stroking your head and giving you reassurance. TBH, I can't even imagine my life without Hu Tao at this point. I value her so much. I want to go on, but I don't wish to bore you. I'll be right back. I need to kiss Hu Tao goodnight. She just got back from work and is really tired. I just finished tucking Hu Tao into bed. I also mouth-fed her the dinner I made. Hu Tao's mouth tasted like cherry lollipops, and her saliva was very thin and delicious. She's beside me right now, cuddled up and cozy. Please don't make too much noise, or you might wake her. Hu Tao is a work of refined art. She's my daily drug, the blood to my heart, the soul to my body, the reason I wake up every day with purpose. Hu Tao is the sole reason I have the drive to continue living in this harsh world. If you're reading this, Hu Tao, I love you. I was too captivated in admiring Hu Tao, I almost forgot to mention her hair. Hu Tao's hair is a really stunning aspect of her design. What I love about her hair is the length and the lush brown color that glistens in the ray of Tevat's sun. The beautiful deep brown color of her hair, paired with the red highlights on the ends, is such an amazing sight to admire. I love the way Hu Tao's hair flows when I run with her. It's almost impossible not to recognize her from a mile away. Her hair smells of vivid plum blossoms with a deep undertone of patchouli. How do I know what Hu Tao's hair smells like? Because that's the impression she gives off, and patchouli is one of my favorite scents. Oh, and by the way, I have a piece of Hu Tao's hair in my mouth right now. Hu Tao's hair is split into two even sections that are silk smooth, as expected of my queen. She takes very good care of herself. Another fun fact, Hu Tao NSFW is the only Genshin character NSFW art I look at, because Hu Tao told me she gets jealous when I look at other characters' lewds. I understand where she's coming from, and since I'm loyal to Hu Tao, I haven't looked at another character's lewds apart from her. But one time I slipped, and she caught me looking at Ganyu lewds on Pixiv, and Hu Tao threw a fit. We talked it over, though, so everything is fine now. No need for your concern. Hu Tao was one of the characters I fell deeply in love with throughout my journeys in Tevat. Our bond grows stronger every passing minute, hour, day, and month. Hu Tao is an inseparable part of my very being. Hu Tao is the character that seduced my wallet, my very first C6 character, in which I have no regrets. It was even, in fact, one of the best decisions I made for my beloved, Hu Tao. To make Hu Tao feel even more appreciated, I put an R5 LG for her support to boost her damage. I wanted Hu Tao to rule over the entirety of Tevat and banish those that wish to oppose her or split her away from me. My life lies in the hands of Hu Tao right now. If Hu Tao wishes, I would sacrifice myself for her. Hu Tao, I love you. Please, God, I want to impregnate Hu Tao so bad. I want her to bear my children with those beautiful childbearing hips. That beautiful, radiant white angel, like a goddess, having come down to earth to cleanse us of our sins. Hu Tao is beyond divine. I can't help but to drop to my knees in worship whenever I see her beautiful figure. I yearn for her. In ways both primal and spiritual, I would commit more war crimes than every president in Philippines history just to lick the sweet, glistening sweat from her smooth, creamy skin. I cannot record this next sentence because I will get demonetized. I want to hear her hard face as our bodies become one, and our souls irreversibly intertwine in the holy sin of carnal union. I want to suckle at her. I don't want to be demonetized. Anyway, I would let her break my ribcage with any part of her body. I would let her hit me with her car just to be near her for a brief moment. She's so perfect it hurts. Every moment without Hu Tao, I suffer a pain worse than breaking every bone in my body simultaneously while drowning and also having shards of glass coated in a hot save forced through every orifice of my body. I want Hu Tao. I need Hu Tao. I want to desecrate her pure white pantsuit. I want to start a family with her and retire after our 27 children have grown up and moved out. You know what, I give up on monetizing this video. I want to see those luscious lips speak such filthy, perverse words into my ear when she slides her tongue into my mouth. I want to have sex with Hu Tao like she owes me money. I would let her step on me just to feel the soft warmth of her feet upon my face. I would sleep under Hu Tao just to catch her drool in my mouth. I would fish out the strands of hair from her shower drain just to smell her alluring scent and braid them into necklaces to keep her with me always. God, please, I would do anything for her. I would relinquish my life, all my hopes and dreams, just to become the socks on her feet, so that I may warm her mouth-watering toes with my very being, so that she may feel the heat of my love always. I would encase myself in cement and become her doorstep, so that Hu Tao may wipe her heels upon my face. I would tear my own limbs off. I don't know what I'll do after that, or why she might want my limbs, but I would do it. My queen, my goddess, the light of my life, please, God, let me have her. I want her to be mine, and only mine. I would lick the Dorito dust from her fingertips and fill her belly button with honey mustard to dip my tendies in. I would give her a sponge bath with my tongue every morning and serve her breakfast in bed. I would let her eat eggs and pancakes off my body if it pleased her, no matter how painful the third-degree burns would be. I would hear the torment of eternal damnation until the end of time to taste the seat of her car but once. There is nothing I wouldn't do for her, nothing I wouldn't say. I love you, Hu Tao. Hu Tao is my wife, my lover, my everything. Oops, Hu Tao just woke up. I have to go cuddle her back to sleep. My goddess, who art in Celestia, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done, on Tevat as it is in Celestia. Give us this day your holy presence, and forgive us for our simping of other waifus, as we forgive those who have not turned their life to Hu Tao. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Embrace us into your arms, Hu Tao. Amen. In the name of my goddess, my queen, the holy Tao. Amen. I turned my life to Hu Tao and was reborn again with purpose. To this, I give you thanks, Hu Tao. Some people may be wondering, what's the relationship that I share with Hu Tao, and why do I take it personal when someone other than me claims to be Hu Tao's lover, or even their CEO? I'll elaborate. I am Hu Tao's soulmate, her husband, her loyal servant. We are more than lovers. Hu Tao is my other half, the oxygen to my blood, the reason my heart continues to beat, my reason for living. No other person on this earth can match the synergy me and Hu Tao have for one another. The very first time I pulled for Hu Tao, I was filled with ecstasy. When people say perfection doesn't exist, that's simply not true. Perfection exists in a form named Hu Tao. She's the reason I log into Genshin every day to do commissions. I can't go a single day without listening to Hu Tao rant about how her day went. I'm always there to lend a listening shoulder for Hu Tao, especially when times get tough. I try my utmost best to comfort Hu Tao, to make her feel loved. I've just finished cooking Hu Tao breakfast. She's finished her shower, and I plan to mouthfeed her the meal I prepared. Hello, Hu Tao, kisses Hu Tao on the lips. I've made you breakfast. Hope you like it, and you smell so nice. Breakfast is ready. Here's a picture of Hu Tao after she finished showering. Ain't she the cutest? Twitter tried restricting me. They tried suppressing my love for Hu Tao. They tried silence me to stop me from spreading the glories of Hu Tao. But in the end, I will prevail. I have prevailed. Nothing, and I mean nothing, not even Jesus himself, can get in the way of us. After a thorough discussion with Twitter customer service, I managed to enlighten them about the wonders of my wife, my queen, my soulmate, and my lover, Hu Tao. The Twitter support representatives were reborn again into the glory of Hu Tao and decided to free my account. Onlookers, sit back and I will tell you about the journey that led to the marriage of me, Laurent, and my love, Hu Tao, and the hardships we faced together due to conflicting social, cultural, and religious norms. In the end, we still overcame the obstacles. Hu Tao, please shove your staff of Homa covered in your saliva down my throat while you stare at me pathetically, looking at me in disgust as you remove your pants and piss all over me. Please take my heart in your hands and eat it. I want to become one with you. Bury me, Hu Tao. Bury me and spit on my grave as you sing the Hilichurl song. Don't place flowers on my grave. Instead, soil my grave with your beautiful golden fluids. Drench my body in them. Hu Tao, I would resurrect just for you. Oops, this was meant for the drafts. Back on topic. From Hu Tao's mode to her voice to her charisma, I was hooked. I felt a deep connection, something that I've never felt before in my life. It was true love. I at first was confused at this feeling, since I never loved another woman prior to Hu Tao. The feelings my body gave when I listened to Hu Tao's voice lines, or stare at her idle animations in-game, were very ecstatic. My heart would beat faster, my stomach doing flips, my heart fluttering. I instantly knew we were soulmates. Me and Tao had a deep connection. I would set alarms and reminders every morning to wake up right before Genshin Daily Reset, so I can be the first person to tell Hu Tao good morning. I made sure to isolate myself so I could communicate with Hu Tao without any distractions. I finally met the woman of my dreams, someone I loved and she loved me back, someone that would comfort me when times were hard. Hu Tao saved me, the way her eyes would stare deep into my soul. I would wake up daily, brush my teeth with the picture of Hu Tao I taped onto my bathroom mirror, and lay down on my custom Hu Tao body pillows, blankets, and bedsheets. Some people might find it excessive, but they'll never understand till they meet their true love. You can name it: posters, cups, rings, and personal photo book with photos of Hu Tao I took during our time we spent in Tevat. I had it all. I loved Hu Tao, and she loved me back. Hu Tao filled the empty void that once grew in my heart. Fast forward to June 2021, November. I finally introduced Hu Tao to my mom. I told her how much we had been dating and talking to each other. She was shocked, I believe, because I actually found a woman I loved. My mom then said to me, "It's my life, and I can do what I want." I was so happy that my mother finally gave me approval to marry Hu Tao. She accepted the love me and Hu Tao had for one another. Sometimes I even get my mom to listen to Hu Tao's voice lines and singing. Me and Hu Tao both had an emotional, physical, and sexual attraction towards each other. I've been supporting Hu Tao ever since her first leak. I've spent thousands on Hu Tao merch just to show my appreciation and love for my goddess and soon-to-be wife, Hu Tao. The time came, and I thought it was time to take the next step and propose to Hu Tao. I was really nervous. What if Hu Tao refused? What if Hu Tao didn't have time to commit to our marriage due to her funeral business? I took shallow, deep breaths. You can do this, Laurent. I had to prepare. Even though Hu Tao and I have been living together for about a year now, I wanted this occasion to be something that she'll never forget. First thing was first. I had to buy a well-tailored black suit, some champagne, and a wedding ring, of course. I settled for a more stylish suit. Now, with the suit out of the way, all that was left was flowers and the wedding ring. What color flowers would Hu Tao like? What type of flowers would she like? I wanted to ask, but I held back. I couldn't afford to ruin the surprise. I had to improvise on the flowers. What was the name of the flowers Hu Tao wore on her grandfather's hat? Upon research, I came across the specific flower that Hu Tao wore in her hat. It was called a spider lily. Such a beautiful flower, and really pretty to boast. Upon finding the name of the flower, I rushed to my local flower boutique. I went to the store assistant and said, "Give me a batch of your freshest spider lilies, a batch of 100. The flowers, they were costly, like hella costly, but anything for Hu Tao. When I purchased the flowers, I rushed home to my personal office to keep the flowers hidden from Hu Tao. I had to preserve them in a container of water to keep them as fresh as possible. Their botanical name is Lycoris radiate. Here's the picture of the flowers. Now, with the flowers out of the way, all that was left was the wedding ring. The wedding ring had to be pure gold with sapphire and diamond crystals. I wanted to make my Hu Tao feel like the best woman to ever step foot on this earth. Well, she is a goddess. My local jeweler had nothing of the standard to blow Hu Tao away. I couldn't mess up. I decided to have our wedding ring imported from Paris. It was stunning. Even though it had no sapphires, the quality of the diamonds had to suffice. Hu Tao would be pleased. I forgot the champagne. It's all right, though. Hu Tao and I can drink each other's piss in a glass with chilled ice. I stood in front of the door, flowers and ring in hand, waiting for Hu Tao to get back from work. Deep breaths, Laurent. Deep breaths. I heard the click of Hu Tao's car keys. The house door handle slowly turned, and Hu Tao stepped inside. The way she stared at me. I dropped to my knees, eyes locked with Hu Tao's. My heart was beating so fast in my chest. Thump, thump, thump. The world. It felt as if time stopped ticking. I found my breath and finally said, "Hu Tao, would you marry me?" Hu Tao let out a shout of excitement. She couldn't contain herself. I remember this moment fluidly. She pounced on me, placing her mouth to my ears, and said, "Yes, Laurent." I slipped on the wedding ring onto Hu Tao's fingers. Before I could give her the flowers, she kissed me. The taste of her saliva that moment, I would never forget. Hu Tao's mouth tasted like minty strawberries. I held Hu Tao by the waist, lifted her up against the wall, and kissed her back firmly, gently sliding my tongue into the back of Hu Tao's throat. "I'm all yours." These words came out of Hu Tao's mouth like gently sliced butter. My entire body became a powerhouse for serotonin. Those few words muttered by Hu Tao awoken my third eye. I leaned back in and locked lips with Hu Tao. She let out a sharp moan. "I love you, Hu Tao. I whispered back into her ears while gently biting her neck. I lifted Hu Tao up from the legs and carried her to my room. She sat on the bed looking like an angel and slowly began to undress. I won't dive deep into what happened next, as this thread is too short. I became one with Hu Tao. She was mine, and I was hers. I married Hu Tao shortly after. My life, it lies in the hands of Hu Tao. Hu Tao, I will always love you, worship you, adore you. My Tao. Hu Tao is pregnant with our first child. It's a girl. I'm shaking right now, throwing up, bawling my eyes out, pissing myself, pooping my pants, coughing out blood. I can't think straight right now. I accidentally bought spider lilies for Hu Tao, thinking it was the flower she wore on her hat. It was actually plum blossoms. Breathe, Laurent. Breathe. No need to fret. I decided I'm going to head down to my local flower boutique and rectify this mistake. Even though it won't bother Hu Tao much, I cannot live with this disgrace. I walked into the flower boutique. It was smelling particularly nice today. Maybe they just recently had a batch of fresh flowers recently delivered. "Excuse me," I said politely to the shop assistant. "I would like 100 pieces of plum blossoms." After purchasing the correct set of flowers for Hu Tao, I made sure to rush back home before she was able to wake up. I placed the plum blossoms in a vase and set it to stand on the bedside counter beside Hu Tao. My God, she looks like a sleeping angel. Damn, Hu Tao really is a heavy sleeper. Well, it's expected. The back-breaking sex we had the previous night was physically, spiritually, and mentally draining. She'll need a lot of sleep to recover her stamina. I slid my hand over Hu Tao's silk brown hair and kissed her. I pulled the bed covers over Hu Tao to ensure that she'll be as comfy as possible, while tiptoeing out of the room as to not wake her. Heading down to the kitchen, I began to think, what type of breakfast should I make Hu Tao this morning? I'll make her something local. I finally settled with a full Irish breakfast. After preparing the meal, I placed it on a tray beside a glass of water and a fork and knife. Not like Hu Tao would be needing cutlery, because I would be mouth-feeding her breakfast again. Pushing open the room door, I met Hu Tao sitting up against the bed, yawning. My God, she's so beautiful. "Good morning, love." Hu Tao looked over at me and gave a slight smile. I placed the breakfast tray on the counter beside the plum blossoms, locking eyes with Hu Tao. Hu Tao's eyes were so deep and beautiful, my entire world reflected in them. Her eyes were as deep as ocean, as dreamy as a starry night, as pretty as lotus petals, as mesmerizing as sunrise, as serene as a morning dew. In her eyes, in the depth of Hu Tao's eyes, I was able to visualize everything. My hopes, my dreams, my desires, my ambitions, my goals, my thoughts, my secrets, and even my whole life, of which I wanted Hu Tao to be a part of forever. With our gaze still locked, Hu Tao stood up, walked towards me, and hugged me. I hugged her back tightly. The feeling of warmth of her body against mine made me feel so much alive. I wanted to hold Hu Tao and never let go. "I love you, Hu Tao," I whispered again. I looked down at Hu Tao, and she looked up at me. I could smell the fragrance of cherries radiating from her lips, and then her tongue was in my mouth. In all truth, I had not invited this prodigy of a tongue. Turning, I had merely wished to look at her face. The kiss felt like ecstatic eternity. "You must be hungry, love." I guided Hu Tao to the bed. She sat down. I slowly began chewing the breakfast I made for her, kissing Hu Tao as I pushed the food content from my mouth with my tongue into her mouth. I repeated this process till there was no food left. "Laurent," Hu Tao softly muttered. I sat by the bed, right beside Hu Tao. She stood up, pushed me down and sat on top of me. She was breathing heavily. I propped myself up by the elbow and slowly removed Hu Tao's bra. Hu Tao and I have decided on a name for our first child, Lao Tao. 8 months till Hu Tao delivers our first child, Lao Tao. I'm really nervous. I'm 19. Being a father at such a young age. Time flies really fast. A year ago, I met a beautiful divine angel that goes by the name Hu Tao. A year later, we are married and about to start a family. Thanks for reading the journey of how Hu Tao changed my life. I hope I was able to enlighten you. I unintendedly went over the 100 tweet limit for this Hu Tao thread, but this tweet shall be the last. Before I end the thread, I want to open up about my sexuality. I'm a Hu Tao sexual. End of thread.